Hello again. This is a bonus episode because I feel like the last one ended up kind of disappointingly with not a whole lot of variety after all that work to get all those different things. So I thought I'd try another quick example and with a different set of constraints and see if I can get some better results. I've already started this here, and you can see just the basics. So I'm going to be using a lot of the same concepts, but hopefully maybe have some better results more quickly. I'm actually going to do this. I'll try to do this in 10 minutes. We'll see how this goes. So this is a similar concept that I did before. I've got the template set up. I'm going to be using pronouncing and TextBlob, maybe not TextBlob, I'm not sure. But PyCorpora and certainly random is always going to show up. I'm just going to do a really simple template. I've got the Joyce Kilmer, which I always, I never really paid much attention to this poem, but I always kind of assumed Joyce was a woman's name, but Joyce Kilmer, I just was Googling, is a man's name. His first name is Alfred. Names are strange like that. They change a bit. I've never really liked this poem. I think it's kind of cheesy, so I feel like it's okay to sort of mess with it as a poem. But if you like the poem, then I apologize. You're not a bad person if you like this poem. But it has this line. It starts with this line: "I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree." And what I like about this is that we've got just two things we're going to try to change out here. We're going to do the verb and then the noun. So we're going to have a list. I think what will make sense to do is have a list of verbs, a list of nouns, narrow that down to the ones that are one syllable, and then see if we get any rhymes out of that. And with just one syllable to check for, I feel like there's a pretty good chance that we'll get a bunch more rhymes than what we got before, but we'll do a pretty similar kind of structure, I think. So let's make a function to get some. I'll go down here and work on it. So let's get a noun. We're going to get nouns. We're going to get all of them. So PyCorpora does have lists of just generic words by part of speech. So we can go into here and get the list of nouns. It's not a super long list. It's only, I noticed, about 1,000 nouns long. And there's certainly more nouns than that in the English language. If this doesn't work out, it might be useful to maybe look at going into WordNick or something else to get a bunch more of those. But let's see, I kind of might need to kind of refresh my memory. Okay, so nouns are going to look like PyCorpora. So I'm going to make a list of all of them, and then I'm going to narrow that down to those that only have one syllable. So PyCorpora dot, what is it? Okay, this to be nouns. Okay, let's make sure this is actually doing what I want. And what happens? Oh yeah, because it's in the words folder. There we go, there they all are. And then I want to do for in all nouns, I'm going to check and see how many syllables they are. And that's going to be very similar to this line from my last code, so I'm going to change that out. I'm only checking for, I've called it in now instead of animals. So, I like to keep things short here. So we'll call it PL in this case, and then I need to, so it's the length of that I need to check. So if the length of PL is 1. Do the same thing I did before. I'll call it keepers. Make an empty list of that, and then append that to that, and then return my keepers. Okay, well, I don't need a PL. I need the actual in, but there we go. Except that didn't work. Why didn't that work? If the length of the PL is 1, what am I missing? I did not pass that into syllable count yet, so that's why. So syllable counts, we'll call it SC in this case, equals, that's what I forgot. I have to run PL into the syllable count function, and then we're checking for the length. Is it the length or is it the actual value of it? It's the value. there's a problem. Expected a string. Oh wait, what did I do wrong? So PL is pronouncing bonus words n, pronouncing syllable count for PL. What am I missing? Is it possible that some of these, I forgot, yeah, maybe I should do this check first. I don't know if I did that before. So if length of, this is going to be the check to make sure that there is actually a pronunciation on hand. So I don't pass the syllable count function until I know for sure that I actually have at least one pronunciation. And then that's, maybe that'll work. Nope. It doesn't like something that I'm doing here, so something about what I'm doing isn't making it happy. So whenever this line is my error, because once it gets down to here, this is something inside of pronouncing, and that's where it was confused. So something about what I gave it didn't match what it expected. So the phones for word in. I'm checking to see if it's over 0. Okay, maybe there's one word that's breaking it for some reason. I guess I can check it out like this. I can have it print while it's running. That was actually the second one that's running this problem. Okay, so what am I doing wrong here? No, not even the second one, it's the first one. Something's wrong with my syllable count. Oh, that's right. Because you're not supposed to pass the string. It's because PL is actually a list and not a string. So I need to pass the first item in that list into the syllable count function. That's what I'm missing. This is the problem with long lines. I didn't see the end of that line in the previous code I was using. So that took longer than it needed to, but it works. So now I have a list of one-syllable nouns. Not a ton of them. Some of these are plural. That's kind of weird. So that's going to make my output kind of strange, but that's all right. Okay, so let's do a noun. Let's do another function. We'll call it getVerbs. We can probably really, this is all the same. So why don't I just do it like this? If I do it, make a single function, I can do it, call it getWords, but then give it a part of speech as the argument that's going to be passed into it. So now when I run it, I'll need to say getWords, and then I'll need to say what kind of word am I going to pass into it. So if I want nouns, I'll do it like that. So this is kind of heavy-handed, but I'll do it like this. So, and I don't need to necessarily change my iterators, so I will go ahead and do it. Elif POS is verbs. So it's going to be either nouns or verbs, and then I'm just going to construct this slightly differently. Need to double check that the verbs are called verbs. And they are, except they are not exactly the same, so I'll need to do a list comprehension. Because you see that they have the present and the past tense, so we'll go with present tense for this. We'll go with, is that what it's called? Okay, so this is the list comprehension technique that I used in the last video and had some success with, so I don't think I need to change anything else. I think everything else should be fine. So this, unless there's a syntax error, which is happening because there's nothing here. Okay, so this should be the same as it was originally, but now I should be able to give it verbs and get a different list. Let's see. Oh, great. Okay, so now I have a long list of verbs. So I've got two lists now I can create. So I need to make a new function called get pairs, and that's going to be really similar to what I did before. Oh, it's 10 minutes. I'm almost done though. I'm going to keep going. This is very similar to my function. In fact, I'm going to go over here and just copy this whole thing from the other code because it's going to work pretty similarly. So I need to make foods. I'll do it like this. Verbs equal get words. Verbs. Nouns equal get words. Nouns, pairs are the same, just to kind of keep my things consistent. There we go. So I just changed my variables, so this should all be the same, and I think it doesn't make sense anymore, so I'll delete this comment. Okay, so same kind of thing. I'm going to be looking for rhyming pairs and then returning them if I find them. So let's see. Let's just see how many there are first of all. So there's a problem. Oh, get word. 33, great. We got 33 options. That's much better than we did before. Okay, so let's put them into our template. And there was some weirdness with plurals. We'll deal with that later. It doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do is, I'll just do the same kind of, no, I'll do it like this. I'll call it poem and I'll say template, and I'll format it. It's a tuple. It's expecting 2 items. The first item will be, I gotta get my pair first. So I'm going to run the get pairs function. I'm going to choose a random one of those results, and then I'm going to pass that, use that pair tuple within this here get template, within this template structure here. So the first one's going to be pair 0. The second one will be pair 1. That's going to be something called poem, and then I'm going to print poem. See how it works. I think that I shall never rot. A poem as lovely as a cot. Does that make sense? I don't know. I think that I shall never sail. A poem as lovely as a snail. I think that I shall never damn. A poem as lovely as a man. Okay, that's weird. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and, since one thing I can do, since the the indefinite article is going to have the same considerations as before, I'm just going to go ahead and take the same function over here, the same thing, and then put it here, so that I can construct those appropriately. I guess the risk is that some of these nouns I think are plural, so there might be some weird things there. I think I shall never work. A poem as lovely as a clerk. I think that I shall never not. Why is caught a noun? That doesn't make sense. But it shows up in the list, so oh well. I shall never pack. A poem as lovely as a snack. Speaking of packing snacks, it is about my lunchtime, so I think that's probably a good place to wrap this up. I'll just kind of move my functions into the top and clean up a little bit here. And I think that's probably good enough. That took a little bit more than 10 minutes, but I could have done it in 10 minutes if I didn't get stuck on that one thing with the syllable counting. So there you go. Hope that helps. Much quicker and easier than the other thing, but it kind of relies on a lot of the same concepts. So if this was kind of confusing the way I showed you this, then take a look at the videos preceding and all the trial and error and all that for the much more complicated, but ultimately less varied example I did with the peaches before. So that's it. Thanks for watching these videos. Have a nice afternoon. I'm going to go eat my lunch.